When you hear green mist, you probably think of someone ripping one or something of that nature. But the green mist that has been reported by residents for decades now could likely be caused by an undercover weapons testing facility that was in the region. Today, we'll be talking about the green mist of Chino Hills.
If you grew up in Chino during the late 60s to 90s, you may have heard rumors of an unsettling green fog that floated over the areas of Chino Hills. Rumors of military testing, paranormal forces, and cults swarmed as possible explanations for the eerie mist that coated the hills. Teenagers and young adults would go up to the hills, where all these oddities were said to originate, and test their luck to see what would happen.
This specific case is of a police officer who said he grew up in Chino Hills during the 80s and then went back there with his son on numerous trips to look at the military site. He said one day, as he was coming back from the site with his son, he was stopped by a man in a car who claimed to have worked for Aerojet and told him of what really happened in the weapons testing facility.
What was Aerojet? I asked. We were a defense contractor. What did you do up there? We made weapons for the military. Was there a missile silo up there? No, he said with a laugh. He went on to tell me they used to put landmines up in Chino Hills during the Vietnam War. He said they used to take human cadavers and blow them up to see how much damage was done with a landmine. They would then take the body back and study it. They would then tweak the power of the landmine so it would maim rather than kill. When he saw the surprise on my face, he said, it was war. He also said that every once in a while a cow would blow up, and they eventually stopped doing that when more houses were built in the area. That's when he said the one thing that solved the mystery of the green mist for me. During his story, he told me how they exploded different gases to do tests. He said, sometimes there was a fog, and it would turn green from the gas. It was a green fog. So what was Aerojet exactly? Apparently it was a site used to test munitions and explosives. It is stated by the Center for Land Use Interpretation that research and development of weapons, specifically incendiary and uranium-based weapons, were tested by firing them in the area. Some of the explosives known to be used include HMX and RDX, 135 trinitrobenzene, tear gas, lead dioxin, and munitions and chemicals of concern known as MEC, some of which use depleted uranium. Apparently the site is inactive to this date, but the area is still closed off with buildings remaining there. But then, that made me ask for myself a question. What about the people who live near this test site now? Are they being affected by the previous testing that occurred there? Apparently, since 1994, the Department of Toxic Substances Control has been doing their best to screen and test the area for toxic chemicals that could affect the local community, as well as efforts to make sure the environment hasn't been too severely affected from the testing that took place there. Later cleanups took place in 10 out of 29 designated areas due to chemical contaminants having a moderate to strong impact in their respective areas. And the next step, of course, is houses. Because, of course, this is California after all. Apparently, after the next phase of cleanup and testing, the plan is for the state to okay development of houses. The DTSC determined that the future residents would have no risk of cancer or other effects from depleted uranium, but there are still areas that will be blocked off, including water usage in those areas due to contaminants still being found in the groundwater.
Guys, we're here inside of where the reports of the green mist were coming from. So if you go just up this trail, you'll find a property sign that says "Do not enter, cannot pass here." It is claimed that there are a bunch of minefields inside of the site, as well as places where gas testing occurred. We've been walking around a little here in this area. So a couple things to note: we did previously drive up the trail. The road was really bad. There's potholes all over. I was stressing the whole time about messing up my car. Speaking of cars, there was a car that came up the trail that was driving really slowly. It was kind of suspicious. I think there's private property up there, so those could be like the homeowners or people. Oh, there's the car up there, right there. Alright guys, so we made it all the way up to the area. As you can see all over here, there's no trespassing, no trespassing, no trespassing. There's a gate that seems to be operated. I think one of the big questions I have, there's another trespassing private property sign. One of the big questions I have is, who owns this property if it's not in the hands of Aerojet anymore? Are they still doing tests here? If they are still doing tests here, how come people aren't seeing the green mist anymore? But regardless of the case, there's someone in here who doesn't want you here. Like, even up there, you got the big security camera. Let's hope we're not committing any crimes here. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely people who come here. Yeah, they got like all these locks up here. I'm assuming those are like people coming up here to, like, I don't know, just mark their claim or something to show they've been up here. Oh, there's a car coming. Alright guys, so if you guys heard me in the last clip, there was a car that came up to us as we were at the trespassing property sign that supposedly leads into where the military testing took place. One of the things I'm really also confused about is, like, why are so many people coming up here? So I said initially we seen one car come up the trail and we thought it was kind of weird. Since that point, we've seen about like 5 or 6 cars come up here. And at first I was kind of like, oh, maybe it's like a secluded spot for like teenagers to like have some alone time or whatever. But as more time goes on, I'm wondering like why people are going up here to put the locks on. I told you.
He's coming back down.
So we just seen this guy actually get through the gate. Yeah, he's coming back down, but he just went up. So I'm not sure what that's about. Hopefully he doesn't give us any problems. Okay guys, so I don't want to sound like a total like conspiracy theorist or crazy or anything, but it did at some point feel like that guy was kind of following us down the like giant trail, road, hill, whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm not saying he was following us, but like it really felt like some of those turns I was like kind of hauling ass, just because I was scared that he could be following us. And that dude was like behind us the whole like way down, except there was a couple cars that were pulled off to the side that I think were just like drinking and people chilling and stuff, and I think his attention averted to like those people instead. But more than anything, like, how did he get up there? Like, is he the one who owns that property? If so, what's up there? Obviously I'm not going to ask him, because I mean, I have no idea what's going on. The whole situation was kind of freaky, if I'm being completely honest.